Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Another news story, another day. Hey, I hope you're having a great Tuesday, and I appreciate everyone who's been checking the videos out. A couple of the videos yesterday did really good. We are trying to reach 100 subscribers some point soon because that means we get our vanity URL. So if you're new to the channel and you like the content, please do throw a subscription on it, share it out there, and help the channel grow. It's greatly appreciated and means a lot to us over here at 8-Bit Hooligans. Today, we're covering a recent situation that happened with EA. EA slammed with a class action lawsuit over loot boxes in Canada. A pair of Canadian gamers have filed a class action lawsuit against publisher EA over allegations that its loot boxes break gambling laws, which I'm totally fine with them doing because, quite honestly, EA is notorious for pulling crap and making loot boxes a terrible part of their business model. And I really hope to see these people win, and hopefully more comes like this, that EA gets held to account for putting out a terrible game or terrible games and just trying to rip money off of people. A pair of Canadian gamers have filed a class action lawsuit against EA alleging that the loot boxes in the publisher's game break gambling laws in the country, that being Canada. Loot boxes have proven to be incredibly controversial over the last decade, and EA has been a particular proponent of this type of microtransaction. Most of its games feature in-game purchases, although some examples like FIFA and Madden are worse than the others. I'm okay with in-game microtransactions if it's not game breaking, if it doesn't give you an added benefit, if it's not pay to win, if it's cosmetic. But most of EA's shit isn't cosmetic. Despite being unpopular with players all over the world, loot boxes have become a big earner for many companies. Although every AAA title features some sort of microtransaction nowadays, although not all of them are quite as offensive as pay-to-win loot boxes. This has led to the trend being worth around $30 billion a year. In fact, analysts have predicted that loot boxes could be worth $50 billion by 2022. EA is facing a class action lawsuit in Canada over its use of loot boxes. According to Gamasutra, the lawsuit was actually filed at the end of September by two residents of Ontario and British Columbia. Legal papers indicate that the plaintiffs allege EA has been operating an illegal gambling operation by implementing loot boxes in its games since 2008. Video game lawyer Marcus Dramanica explains that the plaintiffs are essentially claiming that EA is operating an unlicensed gambling business in breach of the aforementioned criminal code and other statutes, which, to be quite honest, it's definitely like gacha stuff from Japan, and there's no real guarantee, and it is a gamble on what you get from the object. So it's not like they show percentages or anything like that and other things. Plaintiffs have also alleged the way in which EA has implemented loot boxes, including not publishing the odds of winning prizes and using them semi-necessary for progression, breached various consumer protection statutes, including the BC Consumer Protection Act. This is not the first time that loot boxes have come under fire with legal authorities. The ESRB has begun to list loot boxes on its rating, informing parents about the possibility of in-game purchases in video games. Meanwhile, governments in Europe have started legislating against the use of loot boxes. The likes of Belgium and the Netherlands have already put a ban in place, while the UK is contemplating classing these types of microtransactions as gambling, which I personally agree with. I think they should be listed as gambling. They are something that doesn't have a guarantee. They are pay to win in a lot of regards, and it limits your ability to play the game. Especially look at like Madden or any of those other sports-based games like FIFA, where you have these dream teams or whatever the hell it's called, and if you don't have the best players or spend a lot of time grinding hours upon hours of content, you will never have enough coins to purchase packs and loot boxes. This has become a staple for EA, and it's how EA makes most of their money, to be quite honest. And it's honestly ridiculous. They should, if they're going to do something like this and they're going to go the pay to win route, they should just let you buy the individual cards straight up. No 0% chance of getting it if you don't get a lucky random number generator or whatever. The fact that someone has brought a lawsuit against EA over its use of loot box is not a huge surprise. After all, the publisher is one of the worst offenders when it comes to including them, and the purchases are largely seen as expensive waste of money. The effect that loot boxes also seemingly encourage gambling means they have become a target for activists. Even if the legal action does not end with a ban, it might make EA think about loot boxes in the future. Hopefully it does, because quite honestly, if you're building this mindset for kids when they're young and impressionable, and they're getting into this mindset of, oh, I gotta do this to win. I gotta get this to be able to uh, win at Madden and stuff. What's to say that they don't start getting influenced and into, you know, traditional or real gambling? You're leading you're leading kids down a certain point. It's getting interesting, and you're paying $60 for this game, which is just a reskin of last year's, no major changes, and then you have to buy all this shit all over again when it comes to like Madden and FIFA. I think if one country or multiple countries start taking these actions against EA, then hopefully they will pull some of this garbage out of their games. But who knows, to be quite honest, with how things will land, and maybe we'll see some changes from EA. But who knows? Again, I do appreciate you guys watching the video. Please let me know down in the comments your thoughts on loot boxes, on the pay to win, on the continued reskinning of EA's sports games and whatnot. Uh, we are 8-Bit Hooligans, and I do appreciate you guys watching the video. Peace.